Let's start with the latest on that deadly mass shooting at a mall near Dallas, Texas on Saturday. 8 people were killed, 7 others were hurt. Police identified the gunman as 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia. He was shot and killed by a police officer who was already at the mall on an unrelated call. Now, we do want to warn you, some of the video you're about to see is difficult to watch. We are not going to show anyone being struck by gunfire. Now, police are reviewing this video very closely. It shows the moment the gunman jumped out of his car and opened fire on innocent shoppers. Investigators say he was armed with an assault-style rifle and a handgun, and that he was wearing a tactical vest. Say he also had more weapons and ammunition in his car.
It's still so traumatic to talk about.
I can imagine that.
It was on the news this morning.
And I mean, you know, innocent people lose their lives on account of, you know,
one person with a gun. I've never in my entire life encountered anything like this.
It's like a movie that's, you know, you're part of, and you know it's not happening, it's real.
For more on all this, we are joined by NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson, who is in Allen, Texas. Priscilla, good morning to you. I mean, this all happened very quickly, so explain how it all unfolded and what is the latest on the investigation.
Yeah, Joe, good morning. And as you heard there, people are still in shock and disbelief, those who were here and witnessed or experienced all of this unfolding. And all of the witnesses say that this came out of nowhere. They were enjoying a Saturday afternoon shopping when all of a sudden, as you saw in that dash cam video, someone pulls up to the mall, gets out of the car, and just starts firing. And to give you a bit of context, this is an outdoor outlet mall. We're talking about more than 100 stores, so there may have been certainly hundreds, if not thousands, of people that were milling about this mall as this shooter went on this rampage here. We know that there was an officer who was already on scene for a different call that immediately ran towards that gunfire and was able to ultimately shoot and kill that suspect. But it's unclear at this point how much time had passed, how much time where there was shooting going on. But obviously we know that in that time there were 8 people who were murdered and 7 more who were injured. And as for the latest in the investigation, police have not held a briefing in more than 24 hours. They are revealing very little information in terms of the investigation and how all of this unfolded. Instead, right now, they are asking anyone with videos or who may have been witnesses to this to continue to come forward as they try to piece together a TikTok of how all of this played out here on Saturday. Joe?
So, Priscilla, even though investigators are at least publicly a little bit tight-lipped, we are learning more about the shooter. What can you tell us about what we've learned about Mauricio Garcia?
Yeah, so they have identified him as a 33-year-old male, and senior law enforcement officials tell us that they are looking at investigating this crime as something that could have been racially or ethnically motivated. We know that senior law enforcement officials say they have seen hundreds of social media posts from this suspect that is espousing neo-Nazi rhetoric and also white supremacist rhetoric. Officials say that he interacted with that type of content online, and they did search his family home overnight on Saturday. We went out there and spoke to some neighbors to see what they knew of this suspect, if there were any red flags. I want to play a little bit of some of those conversations.
From what I've seen of the guy, I mean, I didn't see any red flags that described what he had, you know, apparently been said that he had done.
He went to high school with some of the neighbors, and they just said he was just always very quiet.
And the sense I got from speaking to those neighbors is that people would say hello in passing, but didn't really seem to know him. And I should point out that police, while they are investigating the white supremacist neo-Nazi themes here, they have not specified a motive as they are continuing to investigate this case. They've also not said how the shooter obtained all of those weapons. Joe?
And quickly, Priscilla, what are we learning about some of the victims here?
Yeah, so police have not identified the victims publicly, but we are beginning to hear from some of the family members of those 8 who were killed, including 20-year-old Christian LaCour is among the victims. His grandmother posting on Facebook that he was a security guard at the mall, that he had big plans for his future. She called him a beautiful soul and said that this tragedy has just been unbearable on his family. And we're also learning the name of a second victim, Ashwara Thadikonda, an Indian woman who worked as an engineer here. We actually spoke with a nonprofit group that was on the ground yesterday trying to verify whether she was among the victims, because her family in India had not been able to get in touch with her, and we have now confirmed that she is among the victims. And also, in addition to those 8 that were killed, there were 7 who were injured. We know that 6 of them remain hospitalized, 3 in critical condition, including children aging from 5 years old to 61 years old. Joe?
All right, we are thinking of all of them. Priscilla Thompson. Priscilla, thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.